All right, guys, this is going to be my final breakdown for the weekend. All right. I want to say thank you for everyone that supported. I've been getting a lot of love for the breakdown videos. You know, all the comments, I read them all. Shout out to all of the comments you guys been leaving me and all the DMs you guys have been leaving me on like Instagram and stuff and Twitter and stuff like that. So I appreciate all the support. Okay, I wasn't going to do a breakdown for Joseph Parker and Martin Bakole. You know, we all know that Martin Bakole is a last minute replacement, 2 days notice. Bakole has not even landed in Saudi Arabia, and we're less than 24 hours away from the card, the beginning of the card. Okay, so look, I'm going to tell you how I think the fight can play out. I'm going to break it down like I normally do. I'm most likely not going to put any money down for this fight. You know why? Because I was hoping when I watched the weigh-in today that Martin Bakole would at least have been there just so I can see how much he weighs, because I think it could be a factor for this fight. The fact that he still got to take this long flight from Africa all the way up to Saudi Arabia and not really have any rest in between, that is a real major factor to me. You know what I mean? Regardless of who you think is better, you got to understand that it's not like Padley where it was a 4 day notice. Yes, lack of, preparation for the fighter. But Padley he actually made weight. The guy is really legitimate, like prime example, or stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So he made weight and all. It's a legitimate title fight against Shakur Stevenson. This fight here, I have no idea what Martin Bakole is at when it comes to fitness. Yes, he was scheduled to fight F.A. at Jagba in May. Okay. So I don't know, like he might be in the gym, he might, be training, but I mean, how much weight do you think he lost? Back then, Martin Bakole used to fight in the 250s. In his more recent fight, the last couple of years, he's been fighting in the upper 200s, close to 300. Okay. But there was a difference in what he looked like against Carlos Takam and how he looked against Tony Yoka and his most recent fight, Jared Anderson. You know what I mean? When he's at 284, he's a big man. When he's at 299 against Carlos Takam, he's a big man with a big belly. All that extra weight, once he's above the 280s, is in his stomach. And I'm expecting him to probably come in at over 300 this time around. So, again, we know he's high volume. He's a big puncher. We know he has fast hands. We know he can counter. But he's a stationary target. All right. Even if he was at a lower weight or at 300 plus, he's going to be a stationary target for Joseph Parker. And him even being heavier, that may be a factor here. Okay. So the last minute thing can really affect the outcome of this fight. I'm going to be honest. If this was a fight full of preparation, I would pick Martin Bakole. If this was the Bakole that fought Jared Anderson, not saying it wouldn't be a tougher fight. It would be a tougher fight for him than Jared Anderson because Parker, smarter fighter, just smarter fighter overall, more experience. Jared Anderson, young, still learning a lot, doesn't have the mental strength as a Joseph Parker. I would have expected a Bakole fight with Joseph Parker at any time to go differently. But with that being said, Martin Bakole is not Zhilei Zhang. He is not Deontay Wilder. He is high volume. He is closer to Joe Joyce than anybody else that Joseph Parker has faced. And we know what happened in that fight. Plus, when it comes to Joseph Parker, all right, Joseph Parker is the career heaviest for this fight. Again, he has prepared for Daniel Dubois. His team has said they plan to go into war with Daniel Dubois. I believe them. Coming in at 267 today, which is 12 pounds over what he weighed against Joe Joyce, which was his career heaviest, which I thought was a terrible idea when I picked him to win that fight. I thought it was a terrible idea for Joseph Parker to come in that heavy. Once he came in that heavy, I think he gave away his disadvantage. I think he needed to be elusive in that fight. I think he needed to be mobile. I think he needed to be quick. I didn't like him coming heavy for that fight. I don't even like him coming heavy for this fight or against Daniel Dubois. I knew he was going to be heavy because I did see the open workout. And when he was throwing some of his punches, his shirt was lifting up. And I can tell that he wasn't a Parker that I saw against Zhilei Zhang and Deontay Wilder. He was heavier. So I was like, oh, man, I don't know. You know what I mean? But he's heavier now. But he's fighting someone that is totally not in camp. You know, he can't be in camp. It's February. His fight with Ajagba is in March. I don't know how big this guy is going to come in. All right. So style-wise, I favor Martin Bakole. Preparation and last minute, like, announcement changed within 2 days coming off of a flight. I'm kind of leaning towards Parker. I'm not putting money down on this fight. Again, let me repeat. I am not putting money down for this fight. I'm not. Because there's just too many unknowns here. You know, Martin Bakole is basically getting off the plane and walking into the ring. He's going straight to the arena and walking into the ring. I don't know what kind of shape he's going to look. If there's going to be live betting already or available, I will probably place a bet during that time. But I don't know who wins this fight. I think with Parker, I would want Parker to take an approach similar to Carlos Takam did in the first couple of rounds of their fight. I know Takam got dominated by Bakole, but I think the first couple rounds, you want to move laterally, jab to the body. You know what I mean? Loop that overhand right. And you know, like, because again, Martin Bakole is a stationary target. So you want to be quick. You want to be in and out. You want to use the ring. Martin Bakole, his feet is kind of cemented to the ground. I don't think he moves on his feet nearly as quick as Joe Joyce, but I think his punch output and his punch accuracy is much better than Joe Joyce. You know, he has a jab, he throws a combination, he has faster hands, so he's harder to deal with in that sense than Joe Joyce was. You know, it's like Martin Bakole is like a mix of Joyce and Zhilei Zhang. Zhang is a very strong counterpuncher, but he's very low volume, but he's huge. Joe Joyce is huge, very slow, doesn't have the fast hands as Zhilei Zhang does, but he has much more volume, and defensively, he's really bad. I think Martin Bakole has poor defense, but he makes it up in his offense, his hand speed, and his volume. How long is this volume going to last? Well, that's the thing. If Joe Parker can use the ring, slip his shots, counter, land some big shots, I do think Joseph Parker is capable of putting Martin Bakole on his ass if he's not careful. Okay? I do think that, especially with him coming in heavier. I think he wants to be powerful. I don't think he wants to rely on speed. I think he wants to rely on power, you know, and I think that's what they prepared for with Daniel Dubois. You know, I don't think they were trying to move and stuff. I think they probably understood the fact that Daniel Dubois had fast legs. He's explosive. He's not going to be able to get away from Dubois' jab. With that being said, the disadvantage of it is it makes Parker less elusive and slower. You know? So I know I'm all over the place. But again, I don't like Parker at the weight when it comes to him. I don't like that. But when it comes to Bakole, I don't know what kind of shape he's in. You know? So, look, I think the smart pick is to go with Parker. Simply because he's better prepared. You know, he is fresh out of training camp. He had a game plan. I know everything has shifted, but he's ready. He's going to be well rested. He's been in Saudi Arabia all week. I think if Parker is to ever beat Martin Bakole, I think tomorrow is his best chance. Just because Bakole got a last minute call. On the other hand, when it comes to Bakole, stylistically, I think he's a nightmare for Joseph Parker. On his best day, I think he's more dangerous for Parker than Zhilei Zhang was and Joe Joyce, who stopped him. think he's more dangerous. Higher volume, quicker hands, and he's just a pressure fighter, you know, when he wants to be. The smart pick is to go with Parker. But if Martin Bakole is anything like he is on his best day, he beats Parker, possibly stopping him. I don't think the extra weight is going to do much help in this fight for Parker. It's just going to slow him down. It's going to be easier for him to get tracked down. We saw that in the Joe Joyce fight. Yeah, he was slow. I didn't like it. So it could either go both ways. If I had a gun to my head right now and said, you got to pick a winner, who is going to win this fight tomorrow? I'm going with Martin Bakole. I'm sticking to Bakole. I'm going with Martin Bakole. Straight up, I'm going to go with Martin Bakole. I don't know how he wins, but I'm going with Martin Bakole. All right? I think Parker's going to have a hard time dealing with this guy's volume. All right? Anyway, that's my breakdown. I will see you guys tomorrow. We had a crazy week. I think this is the most active in a week I've ever been. This is the most breakdowns I ever did. I've never done 7 breakdowns. Well, I did 8 technically because I did one for Parker and Dubois. I never did 8 breakdowns within, I think it's been 5 days. That's crazy. All right. So listen, I had fun with you guys. Again, thank you for supporting the channel all this time. The comments have been great. The interactions has been great. I think all of this drama with 2 fighters pulling out of the card has made the card even more bigger, and it made it bigger, and it gave it more exposure because it's just been talk all week about how everything's gonna go. You know, I think the Padley Floyd Schofield pullout was big, but this whole thing with Parker and Dubois pulling out and Bakole becoming is just crazy. And within 2 days, it's insane. The guy hasn't even landed. All right. All right, man. I'm out. Oh, one last thing. I'll let you guys know in the morning when you guys get here. I'm thinking about changing one of my picks. And I'm thinking about Zhilei Zhang. I'm not confident in Ajit Kabayel beating him. I'm thinking about it. I would think about it all night. That's the only fight where I'm not sure. I wasn't really that sure on the breakdown, but I picked Kabayel. I'm thinking about changing that pick. But I won't tell you guys until tomorrow on a live coverage. All right, first thing. All right, let me think about it. I'm going to sleep on that one. All right, I'm out, guys. Peace.